Good morning. Welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. It is Monday the 9th of June. The transfer window slides closed for a brief break in the international transaction of players due to the World Club Football Championship, where you could win 100 million and it's an invited only thing, and it's for the hierarchy of world football, isn't it, really? It's a little get together. Yep. It's meant to be a closed season, no international football. And there is. And Kieran Tierney pulls out the Scotland squad injured. What could go wrong? Kieran Tierney returns to Celtic this summer, and before he's even managed to get his foot in the door at Celtic, he's pulled up injured at the fuck. What could seriously go wrong? So I have asked the question in the poll already this morning. Is that a worry that Kieran Tierney is pulled out of Scotland duty with an injury again? Again, as it currently sits, there's 50 votes on the poll. 60% say yes, and 40% say no. So for the ones that are in the no vote, I'm just reading some of the comments. If you're in the no camp, tell me why you don't think it is a concern. Yeah, I know that we've got, he's got a couple of weeks. He's got, about 3 weeks till Celtic start pre-season. Let's just hope it's nothing serious. And I doubt it is. I mean, when you're looking at it, Scott McTominay's been pulled out as well. And when you look at the season that both players have had, obviously Scott McTominay's just had a fantastic season in Italy. But Kieran Tierney, he has played he's played a bit of football, but not too much. Let's be honest. But is it just the case, look, you're a week and a half after the season's, it's more than that, isn't it? I mean, Celtic season, the season in England finished about 2 weeks ago, nearly 3 weeks ago. So is it just the fact that the bodies are seizing up after not training for the best part of a couple of weeks? Obviously, they've went to the Scotland squad, and I'm just going to take it, and his paper hips strike again. Morning, Kaiser, how are you? I'm going to give you a shout later on. I've had a sort of quietish weekend. But yeah, before he's even got his foot in the door, Kieran Tierney is injured again. I'm going to take it, and I'm hoping that it's the fact that maybe it is just the case that, the old body, and it does that. It does that. When you've got a physically demanding job, I'm trying to justify him getting injured again. It's Kieran Tierney, and his reputation over the last 5 years is, Danny's got it right. He's never going to be off the treatment table. Are we going to go into this season with Greg Taylor? It's Greg Taylor's going to the it's going to be an SOS call, like Brendan Rodgers standing like this. Goes up into the sky. Greg, we need you. Stay, please. Don't take your wife and kid to Turkey. It's a horrible country. Don't take your wife and kid to Turkey. It's horrible. Stay here in Scotland. You'll be much safer, and your kid will be fine, and your missus will get treated like a normal woman. No disrespect. It's Greece that he's going to. Whatever. Who cares? Who cares? Whatever country it is. It's a worry going into the season. Let's be honest. The left back area, we've already known that we need to get an ample left back in. Someone that can cover for Kieran Tierney, that's just as good as Greg Taylor, if not better. Maybe even better than Kieran Tierney, a potential up-and-coming player. Jeffrey Sloops on speed dial. Don't say that. This was poor uppercase, lowercase letters in his banner. And whose banner? Shine the Celtic badge to summon a left back. We need one. And we do, don't we? And it's a worry. The left back position. Excuse me. The left back position is a position that hasn't really been filled correctly. I mean, we've brought in. For me, it's not just a knock, but highlights the fact that we need cover for KT. Says Kaiser. Yeah, we do, don't we? And do you know, it's mental that we're in this position. We've had all these players in over the years to try and cover the left back position, and we're bringing back Kieran Tierney. And yes, I'm now worried about going into this season because the transfer window closes tomorrow, and we've been linked with Danny Ings again, the 32-year-old. We've been linked with him again. So for me, the fact that he's on a free, and you can see the way that we're going to go into this transfer window. It's going to be get as much as we can for our players. I mean, Brendan Rodgers has already got one hand tied behind his back because £6.5 million worth of talent didn't make its exit from Celtic as was projected by the football department. I mean, they all thought, yes, at the end of the season we'll get $3 million in for Gustav Lagerbielke. They've got the option to buy. And then we've got the $3.5 million that's going to. We've got $3 million for Lagerbielke, $3.5 million for Lewis Palmer. Those deals didn't take place. So as it stands, both those players will return back to Celtic, and it's not an ideal situation. It's not an ideal situation that Brendan Rodgers currently finds himself. He doesn't find himself in any, because he's sitting in cloudy Mallorca this morning thinking, "Fucking KT's injured again." He's probably got on the phone to him. Kieran, what's happening, lad? Tell me what's happening, son. How serious is it? Why so serious? Oh, God. Brendan Rodgers is probably sitting pulling his hair going, fuck, is this worth it? Is this really worth it? More years of this fucking pish shit board. Transfer window closes and then reopens on the 16th of June till September. Yes, it does that, Kaiser. I said that. It closes just briefly for a brief interlude. Ings isn't a bad player. We seem to be scraping the barrel when it comes to transfers and spending what's in the kitty. He's 32-year-old. He's 32-year-old, right? He's under freedom with contract. We can get him for nothing. It's the Celtic way, isn't it? It is the Celtic way. And then I'll wait till we get to the end of this summer, because if that type of scenario happens, bringing back Kieran Tierney for nothing, bringing in Danny Ings for nothing, maybe spending 10 million on a midfielder, I'm going to say it, but there is the potential that we're going to go into this season and it's going to be a managed decline season. Well, I've spoke about this before in the channel when we've went through periods of managed decline, and it's usually at the point of a change of manager. And this is what worries me going into this last year of Brendan Rodgers' contract, because I've got a funny feeling that the board will go through this. Let's reduce the wage bill scenario. Let's keep money back, because like if he's not going to stay a year, we're going to have to spend good money on the next manager that comes in. And I've got to be honest. We all thought that Brendan Rodgers would have done a deal before the end of the season. He was asked about it, and he said, "Look, I'm sure we'll sit down at some point, and we could do some kind of deal." Maybe the board are thinking, they'll analyse the football department over the last couple of years. And although we had some success last year in the Champions League, we could have done a little bit better. But they'll also look at the fact that Brendan Rodgers has an inability to bring through people through the B team. Now Brendan Rodgers will turn around and say, well, it's not really my issue, is it? It's a club issue, and the fact that the club aren't prepared to pay top dollar to these young kids. I'd rather have Ings than Vardy. I'd rather have none of them. To be honest, they don't fit the Celtic model. And if we do go down the Ings or Vardy route, I definitely have the fear that this will be a season of managed decline. We'll still win things next season, there's no doubt about that, and I still think that we'll win the league. I think that I'm not disputing that. We did it under the managed decline at the time where Gordon Strachan was in charge. We did it through the managed decline when Ronnie Dyler was in charge. We still went on and won the league, etc. But it was a period of managed decline. You can still have success, but decrease the wage bill. We've already decreased the squad. This is the telltale signs that you start to look out for. We've reduced the size of the squad. So, Brendan Rodgers and Celtic trying to offload excess players that we have at the club. I don't know. I'm not too sure. Anyway, I've said from the start that Miller will sign for the Huns, says John. Really? Not a chance. Lennon Miller will not sign for them. They cannot afford to sign Lennon Miller. One, they can't afford to, and two, I just think that he's never going there. He's going to go to Italy, if you ask me personally. Kaiser says, for me, Baz, we have made contact with all the targets and told them to stay quiet, and then they will watch and grab the ones we want in the next window, the next half of the window. Do you think, Kaiser? Do you honestly think that we're going to get players in? The big issue for me this summer is how quick Celtic react. The Huns will get Mick Miller. I'm just waiting on them signing somebody called Barry, so that they've got a Patrick, a Kevin and a Barry, so they can have the Kevin Barry scenario at Celtic. That'd just be absolutely fantastic. Good on that Catholic bigoted club. Lennon Miller isn't good enough for Celtic, says Jim McClarty. How many of us seen him every week? And we have players just as good, if not better. Jim, I don't think it's you've got to remember, Lennon Miller is still a teenager. He is still a teenager. If he was at Celtic, he would probably been put out on loan, and there lies the issue. Can he progress to be better than Arne Engels? Can he progress to be better than our Portuguese Paulo Bernardo? I think he can. But we're all what appearance. Too many irrelevant international tournaments and games, says Daniel. Yeah, there is. We have millions in the bank, millions on the way, plus player transfers. We'll stretch our legs and become a true Champions League side, said Kaiser. There will be 4 players brought in for pre-season, says Lanky. Just think that we'll manage to get 4 players in the next 3 weeks. Has there been a date set for them returning? Because I know that we've got the game on the 8th. I think we've spoke about this before. It's Monday the 9th just now. If we've got the game on the June, we've got the game on the 8th of July. Brendan's going to want them back a full week before. So you're talking that everyone will be back for Monday the 30th of June, which means that you get players starting to come back around about the 25th. I'll say that they'll start coming back around the 25th to the 27th, because they do their fitness tests before they go into pre-season, don't they? So they all come back and they do their fitness test to see where their fitness levels are at. So I think you'll get the first players back Wednesday the 25th of June. So if that's the beginning of sort of pre-season, it only gives Celtic a week and a half to 2 weeks. 2 weeks to get his business done. Just like the cynical man impressing the new girlfriend, it'll be all Chanel perfumes and jewellery and fancy meals for the first year. And that will be Rangers. I've already seen that they're coming to the acceptance that it's going to be they're saving money. Irishman in Porto, it was brilliant for me because there was no fireworks and the dog wasn't going mental, so it was nice and quiet. It was nice. Actually, it's funny because we were in a wee tapas bar restaurant and it was full inside with Spanish, and outside we were sitting in the big terrace, you know, the al fresco eating that we do over here, and they were very quiet. I mean, I couldn't see. They had the window closed, so I couldn't see the telly. And I reckoned that they scored. That Spain had scored, and it was quiet, and nobody celebrated. And I'm like, what's happened to Spain as a country? It used to be this football mad nation, but now it's not. In general, and even when we drove past one of the other bars that had it on that the Spanish go to in the town, I mean, they're very subdued. It's maybe just this area that I'm in, but then again, when we were down in Torrevieja, it was pretty much the same. They're not the crazy football mad nation that they used to be, which is weird. But I do see that, talking about Portugal, fair play to them, winning on penalties. I just knew when that guy was going up to take the Spain penalty, you could see it on his face. I was like, he's not scoring this all day long. But Ronaldo has come out and spoke about Yamal and told the media to lay off him and give him his privacy at the young age and stop putting too much pressure on him, because he knows what it's like, obviously being the superstar that he is. And I think, what was it, 980 or I don't know, games that he scored. But it was good to see him telling the media to just lay off the young lad and let him just perform on the pitch. I didn't think that he did overly great, but it's the end of the season, you know. You're a couple of weeks out of the end of the season. So anyway, it was an interesting game to watch. Late night, obviously, penalties, but never mind. But it was, yes, getting back to you, Irishman and Porto, it was a nice quiet night due to the fact that there was no fireworks going off. So I hope you were up half the night with fireworks going off in Portugal. Do you actually let fireworks off? Are you as nuts as the Spaniards? Lit fireworks off for hours and hours after. It's fiesta time over here as well. Just fucking. And there's like 4 villages round about us, and each one of them was going to have massive sound systems going off every weekend. But anyway, that's a total different conversation. Anyway, 128 votes. Is it a worry that Kieran Tierney pulled out the Scotland duty? And again, 66% say yes, 34% say no. Celtic board marking time until the 11th hour arrives, then panic buy. Danny says a few players in the squads. Yeah, I hope so, Danny. Last season was different due to not having Champions League playoffs and for waiting for Matt O'Reilly to leave. This season is different. Yeah, it is different. We've got Champions League playoff once the season starts. Lanky. So we know that players will leave Celtic. Brendan Rodgers has said that there's one thing for sure, that he knows that some of his best players will leave this summer. Brendan Rodgers has said that, so let's just hope that he gets the players in that he wants before a ball was kicked. Let me just get back to Celtic. Greg Taylor is going to sign for the Greek club in the next 48 hours, it's been said. Greg Taylor will call time on his spell at Celtic. Well, there you go. So Celtic, we all know that he's left, but he will sign for the Greek side. It looks like he's going to come from Dubai, where he's on holiday, via Greece, and sign the deal with the Greek club on a free transfer. Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting, if you ask me, that he was allowed to walk away for nothing. And again, it shows the inability of Celtic and the Celtic board, with Kieran Tierney coming in to allow Greg Taylor the position to be able to leave for nothing. I mean, he should have been sold. He should have been sold in the winter transfer window, just like David Turnbull was, with 6 months left on his contract. Big Des says, always stay faithful to the club troops. We are Celtic supporters, faithful through and through. We believe start next season in a good place. Yeah, Monty, I'm not denying that he's pish, but he should have been sold. He found himself in a weird position at Celtic. He found himself a very strange position where he was running out his contract, and any other player is put on the transfer market in the winter transfer window and sold on. So I think that he should have been done. The same should have been done to him. He should never have been allowed to walk away for nothing. He was valued at £8 million at one point by Celtic. £8 million. You've just let and even the fact that we got 3 million. Right? Who's the bit? Here's one. Right? We're going to finish up that poll. Here's one for you. Who was the better player at Celtic, David Turnbull or Greg Taylor? Both of them, and the reason I'm asking this question, both of them run down. Well, one runs down his contract and leaves Celtic for nothing. The other one doesn't go to sign a contract at Celtic and is sold for £3 million with 6 months left on his contract. Now, Greg Taylor, David Turnbull was sold going into the winter transfer window. He was sold late on in the window, but running down his contract. He was sold for £3 million. Greg Taylor, in the exact same situation, was running down his contract and didn't want to sign for Celtic, had plans to move on, but was allowed to leave for absolutely free. So who was the better player? And is this down to the Celtic board and the inability? And it all ties in with the Kieran Tierney story today, that obviously Kieran Tierney is out injured. We now don't have a recognised left back at Celtic. We do not have a recognised left back at Celtic as it stands, because Kieran Tierney's injured. If the season was to start tomorrow, and let's hope it is just a knock, and it's who both were pish. It's not the point. It's a point. It's from, think about it from a financial perspective. Right, this is the way that I'm leading that question. And although two of them are of mediocre standards when it comes to Celtic, but one was allowed to walk away for nothing. So it's just to try and get an indication from where you guys are, the fans, where you guys are, on who do you think was better. Now, there's 66% currently think that Greg Taylor was better. So shouldn't he have been sold? So then I was correct. Then away back in the beginning of last season, and I called out the board and said that they should sell Greg Taylor at the January window, and they didn't. They got themselves into a situation. They got Celtic into a situation where he was allowed to leave for nothing. We're now bringing back Croc Kieran Tierney, and I just hope that when Kieran Tierney comes back, he doesn't spend a lot of time on the injury table, because if he does, the fans will start turning against him. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of deal Kieran signs when he comes back. If it's a 2-year deal or 3-year deal. God forsake us, it's a 4-year deal. But then you never know, because he's of an age where he could say, look, I want a 4-year deal. 28-year-old, he's going to be wanting a 4-year deal coming to Celtic, and that'll take him to his 32. I think Kieran's probably going to take early retirement. He's made an absolute fortune down at Arsenal over the last few years. He's made his money. He's never come across as the kind of guy that's going to fucking spunk his money up the wall, is he? Or drink it down his neck. Born on the 5th of June 1997, Kieran Tierney. He's now 28 years old. Maybe because he pulled out the Scotland squad because it was his birthday this week, and he's just went out on a bender and fucking thought, fucking, I'm not playing no football this week. Sorry, Gaffer, but I got absolutely hammered. The boys were in fucking Santa Ponza, and I went over and I met up with them, and I just got smashed for about 2 days solid. It's going to take me about a week to recover from this. And Stevie Clark's went, oh, for fuck's sake, Kieran. Come on, lads, you're meant to be one of the fine examples of a Scottish football player. Tell me about it. But the boys were on tour, man. You should have seen it. There was 80 of them over in Santa Ponza, and it was just a riot, man. I had to go over. Kaiser said it's his birthday on Wednesday. You still wearing your tights, Kaiser, or you're going to take your tights off for your birthday? 1997, I was finishing school back then, said Lanky. You were not finishing school back in 1997. Try 1987, Lanky. KT length of contract might give us a clue on Rodgers' decision. If Kieran Tierney doesn't get signed on a 4-year deal, what is the point in bringing him back to Celtic? If it's a short-term contract, Pork Chop Express, that was 1988. Some of that was. Kaiser loves his tights. Katie out of bender with Adam Eder. Nah, because Adam Eder was playing football. Did Adam Eder not actually play for Ireland? Anyway, it is what it is, isn't it? Just reading this. Kieran Tierney. Ross Dohan's been called up to the Scotland squad. Why haven't Celtic announced him? I mean, if he's under freedom of contract, why haven't Celtic announced that deal? Maybe just they're waiting till give Rangers a little bit of moment in the limelight. No chance. Dohan had been on a family break when he got the call. So he'd been on holiday as well, and he's got the call to join up to the Scotland squad. Interesting. Interesting to see if he gets some game time. That's interesting to see if he gets some game time. Anyway, who plays better? Who was better player at Celtic? That poll's going really slow. Anyway, let's finish that one off. That is on the half-hour mark. I feel so fresh and young. I left school in 2009. Should we just block Michelle just now? Oh, wait a minute. I'll go ahead and just zoom in on this channel. Go to this channel. Oh, wait, man. So you did. Heavy paper round. I'm joking, Michelle. I am joking. Anyway, right. that's us done and dusted for this morning. There will be a live back tonight. Don't rub it in. I heard that KT is done and Mo Johnson, according to the Rangers news. No, he's not. Jesus God. No, he's not. Anyway, make sure to join us at 8 p.m. Celtic Park time tonight, where we can talk about the possibility of maybe even signing someone tomorrow before the window just closes gently. Anyway, let's go. 91 was. KT wasn't even a dirty thought. I'm staying out of this conversation. I now feel old leaving in 1988. But it was a good year, 1988, because Celtic won the double then. And it was one of the highlights of being... you never really leave school. Exactly. Brown Warrior, I've actually learned more since I left school than I did at school. And I think that's probably true for a lot of people. That's a conversation I could go really into. I learned more since I left school than I did at school. Got a diploma and everything. You wouldn't think it, but yeah, I got a diploma and everything. Anyway, that's me done and dusted for this morning. I shall catch up with you all tonight, unless there's any breaking news this afternoon. You never know. Celtic might sign Danny Ingles. Celtic might sign someone, anyone. Just get somebody in the door, because we need the numbers. On that note, have an absolutely fantastic day. I love that picture. That was me abseiling into Celtic Park. Just in case any of you wonder what I'm doing. That's me on the main roof of Celtic Park, abseiling into it. Have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.